I used to squat 220 pounds, but my legs wouldn't grow because of these 8 mistakes that were destroying my hypertrophy. Strong and well-developed legs are the foundation of an aesthetic physique. Even though many men hate training them, nobody wants to look like an inverted triangle. Well, I was exactly like that. Chest and back somewhat developed, but legs that looked like matchsticks. Even with my diet totally aligned and using loads I thought were respectable, I simply didn't see significant changes. It was only when I identified and corrected 8 silly but extremely impactful mistakes that my leg hypertrophy really took off. And since every day, I still see most people making exactly the same mistakes, curiously the same ones who complain about bad genetics for legs, I decided to create this video. Today you'll see 8 mistakes that were completely destroying my leg hypertrophy and how I corrected each one of them to completely transform my results. Before we begin, please tell us through the comments your name and the city where you're watching our content from. We'd love to know. Mistake number 1. Neglecting cardiorespiratory conditioning. This mistake may sound counterintuitive at first glance, but it was one of the most devastating for my results. I always focused exclusively on strength training, believing that cardio was for people who wanted to lose weight. The problem is that during leg exercises, especially compound movements like squats and leg press, a gigantic number of muscle groups are simultaneously involved. We're talking about quadriceps, glutes, spinal erectors, core and calves working together. These exercises require not only brute muscular strength, but also an extremely efficient cardiorespiratory system to meet the very high demands for oxygen and nutrients from the muscles. When my conditioning was poor, my body simply struggled to sustain the necessary effort, and failure happened long before I reached the desired level of muscular fatigue. Imagine the scene. I'd start a heavy squat, first set, everything flowing well. But as the set progressed, my breathing became completely labored, my heart rate shot up absurdly, and before my legs reached true fatigue, I had to stop. This happened because my cardiorespiratory system simply couldn't keep up with the metabolic demand of the exercise, becoming the weakest link in the chain and completely compromising the necessary hypertrophic stimulus. Additionally, a weak cardiorespiratory system negatively impacts your recovery capacity between sets and between workouts. When I improved this conditioning through regular moderate cardio sessions, I noticed I could train much more intensely, for longer periods, and recover significantly faster. I'm not saying you should become a marathon runner, but including 2 to 3 weekly sessions of 20 to 30 minutes of cardio at moderate intensity made an absurd difference in my leg training. Mistake number 2. Inadequate rest time. I was completely addicted to that misguided idea that resting less between sets and feeling that intense muscular burn was the key to maximum hypertrophy. This belief led me to absolutely unproductive workouts, where inadequate recovery prevented the performance necessary to really deeply stimulate the muscles. The burn I was chasing is much more related to lactate accumulation than an effective stimulus for muscle growth. Leg training, mainly with heavy compound exercises, involves enormous muscle groups and creates a very heavy metabolic demand on the entire body. Besides local muscular fatigue in the legs, these exercises create a significant systemic load, affecting your cardiovascular system, central nervous system, and support muscle groups like the spinal erectors. This massive impact requires a considerably longer rest period for the body to replenish its energy reserves, stabilize heart rate, and allow the next set to be performed with the same intensity and technical quality. When I only rested 60 seconds between squat sets, my performance plummeted drastically. The third set was already pathetic compared to the first. Insufficient rest inevitably leads to a progressive drop in performance, reducing your ability to lift truly challenging loads. Multi-joint movements like squat, leg press, and stiff generally require 2 to 4 minutes of rest for adequate recovery. Of course, if you have little time available to train, you won't be able to rest like this on all exercises. A smart strategy in this case is to leave leg training, or at least one of the week's leg workouts, for days when your time isn't limited, like weekends or days off. Mistake number 3. Inadequate training split. For a long time, I tried to train absolutely all leg muscles in a single day. Quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and calves all together. It seemed efficient on paper, but in practice, it was a complete disaster. You can hardly stimulate all these muscle groups with adequate quality in a single session. Think with me. A well-executed leg press and an intense squat already leave anyone completely destroyed. Now imagine still having to combine that with 3 or 4 more exercises for hamstrings, 2 more for calves, and a few more for glutes. It's practically unfeasible to maintain adequate intensity and mechanical tension in all of them. What happened to me is that the first exercises were excellent, but the last ones became just automatic movements without real quality stimulus. You can even complete the workout, but it's definitely not ideal for maximizing results. The solution that completely transformed my leg development was splitting the training into 2 distinct days during the week. You can do this split in 2 main ways. The first option is to divide by specific muscle group, quadriceps and calves on one day, hamstrings and glutes on the other. The second option is to do 2 complete lower body workouts, but with fewer exercises in each session. For example, in the first workout, you do leg extension and squat for quadriceps, 1 exercise for calves, 1 for glutes, and 1 for hamstrings. In the second workout of the week, you complement with 1 more exercise for each muscle group. Test both approaches and discover which adapts better to your body and your routine. This change alone gave me a huge leap in training quality. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress healthily long-term in the bodybuilding world. Mistake number 4. Not doing a good eccentric phase of the movement. The eccentric phase is that part of the movement where you resist gravity in a controlled manner. On the leg press, it's when you lower the weight. On the squat, when you flex your knees to go down. On the leg extension, when you lower the load after extending it. This phase represents approximately 40 to 50% of your total hypertrophy potential, but I simply completely ignored it. I was so obsessed with pushing increasingly heavier weights that I totally neglected control on the descent. I ended up doing movements that were too explosive, letting gravity do the work. The result? 0 gains despite loads that were visually impressive. The eccentric phase causes greater controlled muscle damage, which is exactly the stimulus needed for growth. When you control the descent for 2 to 3 seconds, you maximize time under tension and muscle fiber recruitment. I saw guys around me loading up equipment with plates, doing completely uncontrolled movements, training their ego much more than the muscle itself. Even doing that famous load progression everyone talks about, results didn't appear because execution was garbage. When I finally understood this and reduced my loads to be able to do controlled eccentric phases of 2 to 3 seconds, my gains exploded. I'll tell you right now that to train legs with a good eccentric phase, controlled cadence, and full range of motion, it's absolutely natural not to lift as much weight as you would doing whatever. And this leads me directly to the next mistake. Mistake number 5, lack of range of motion. This mistake walks hand in hand with the previous one. I drastically reduced range of motion to be able to use bigger loads and feel strong. You know that guy who puts 440 pounds on each side of the leg press, goes down a measly 4 inches and comes back up, all proud? I was exactly that guy. Meanwhile, the guy next to me executing with 176 pounds on each side, going down to the maximum safe range, perfectly controlling the movement, had visibly more developed legs than mine. And I didn't understand why. Full range of motion is crucial for several reasons. First, you recruit many more muscle fibers along the entire length of the muscle. Second, time under tension increases considerably. Mistake number 7, not periodizing training. Doing exactly the same workout with the same structure of sets, same repetitions, and same intensity indefinitely is literally a guaranteed recipe for complete stagnation. I spent months doing 3 sets of 10 repetitions on all exercises, thinking I was being consistent. Actually, I was just being repetitive. Periodization, which is nothing more than the systematic variation of training variables over time, is absolutely essential for continuous progress. Your muscles and your nervous system adapt to the stimuli to which they are repeatedly exposed, becoming increasingly more efficient in that specific pattern and needing new challenges to continue growing. There are several ways to periodize. Linear periodization progresses from higher volume with lower intensity to lower volume with higher intensity over cycles. Undulating alternates between different intensity zones weekly or even within the same week. Block periodization focuses on specific qualities for determined periods of time. For example, you can structure a 4-week block focused on high volume with 12 to 20 repetitions, followed by a strength block with 4 to 8 repetitions and very heavy loads, then a metabolic work block with intense techniques like drop sets or rest pause. Varying not only repetitions, but also exercise selection. Their order, rest time, and special methods keeps your body constantly adapting and progressing. Without planned periodization, you inevitably hit a plateau where there's simply no more significant adaptation occurring, no matter how hard you try. Mistake number 8. Wrong exercise selection. My last major mistake was choosing exercises that seemed different, but actually activated exactly the same muscle portions. For example, I did leg press, hack squat, and free squat, all in the same workout. It seemed like incredible variety, but all these exercises work predominantly the same region of the quadriceps, with very similar movement patterns. I was wasting energy without really covering all the muscle's needs. For quadriceps, you need to combine exercises that emphasize different portions. The squat or leg press work the entire muscle well, but mainly the middle portion. The leg extension magnificently isolates the vastus medialis. The front squat or hack with lower feet emphasizes the distal portion. For hamstrings, you need exercises that work both the knee flexion function, like the leg curl machine, and the hip extension function, like the stiff or Romanian deadlift. Doing only leg curls leaves half the hamstring's potential without adequate stimulus. For glutes, you need to combine hip extension exercises with vertical load, like squat, with horizontal extension exercises, like hip thrust or pelvic elevation. They're completely different activation patterns. The secret is understanding the function of each muscle portion and selecting exercises that, together, cover all these functions in a complementary way. When I started doing this, I noticed I needed fewer total exercises, but with much smarter selection, and results improved drastically. Analyze your current workout and see if you're not doing 3 variations of the same basic movement, thinking you're training comprehensively. Correcting these 8 mistakes completely transformed my leg development. I went from someone frustrated, squatting 220 pounds without visible results, to finally building legs proportional to the rest of my body. The most interesting thing is that most of these mistakes seem so simple when you know them, but they're absolutely devastating when you make them without realizing it. If you enjoyed this and also want to discover the main mistakes that destroy your chest hypertrophy, we've left a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one of them better. Be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.